So after the big win against Belmont, Coach, you had Lipscomb in town, and then Campbell, USC Upstate, and you're able to just sweep all 4 of those games at home, maintain what by this time was I guess that by that time it's a 9-game home conference. Well, it's an 8-game conference. It's a 9-game conference winning streak. I guess they're trying to get. There's just so many streaks that you ladies perpetuated throughout the conference season. But it's a 9-game winning streak. Then, of course, you beat Jacksonville on the road, but we'll talk about that in a second. But first, you're able to pack the house once again and bring more and more fans in for 4 straight Lady Bucks wins, starting with Belmont, ending with USC Upstate.
Yes, as I said, we had a little bit of momentum. We had won a few games in a row, like you talked about. So it was making it a lot easier, to get fans in, because I felt like we played an exciting style. Everybody loved, to watch Sierra Evans, Taronda Wiles, and Letitia Belcher, because we call them our big 3, because they had to come out and perform every night, and they were the 3 that were always pretty much consistent, be it defensively or be it offensively. So to bring in the fans, that made them as the team, the players, want to perform so that we could keep bringing in the fans, because that's what I tell them. They want to see a fun style of basketball. We don't walk the ball up and down the court. We push it and make it pretty exciting. So against Lipscomb, it was more of our style. We controlled the tempo, and I think that was the reason we were able to get that win. And then I think it was Campbell that came in next, and they were a new team. They had a lot of new players, and we were just riding on a lot of momentum at that point. And so we were able to get that win, and then Upstate came in, which was a very much improved Upstate team, and was able to get that home victory as well.
Yeah, and I think the thing I remember from Upstate, I guess just a small sidebar is we're at this point in the season, we're already seeing just incredible things from Sierra Evans. She goes on to have 18 double-doubles throughout the entire season, and obviously one of the fan favorites by this time in the season. And I just remember being in the Dome and watching her play against USC Upstate. She made the bucket right at halftime. The buzzer beater gets the fans kind of into it. And as you say, very, very improved team. And I believe you actually had to kind of come back at one point. They really kind of had you on the ropes for a little bit there. But thanks to another outstanding performance by Sierra, able to pull that one out in the home finale of that homestand.
Yes, that was a big shot, because you always like to hit the shot at the buzzer going into half, because you feel like if things were kind of turning away out of your momentum, that you could get it turned around at that point. But for some reason early on, this team was a better second half team than they were a first half. So with her hitting that shot, that made it a lot easier for me to go in and try to keep them up and get them a little bit more fired up for the second half. But you're right, Upstate, they didn't make a run at us, they made a push at us, but we never lost our composure. So they kept working hard out there, and was able to get the victory.
And Coach, a split on your next road trip. You do get the better of Jacksonville for the second year in a row. You beat them down there inside Swisher Arena, where their ladies play, but then go across the river. And very, very always a scrappy North Florida team. Maybe not on paper as good a team as they would seem, but they always give your ladies a hard time on the floor, and they always have to play their best for 40 minutes. And, they edged you out on their home floor that time.
Well, Jacksonville, we played them first, and that's the one that, we use up a lot of energy with, because we want to compete and beat them so bad every time we step on the floor. So we did, leave a lot out on the court after the Jacksonville game. And I was worried going into North Florida, because they were young. They had improved tremendously, throughout the season. So I knew it was going to be a battle. Like you say, we always have a battle with them, especially down on their home court. So when we stepped out on the floor, for me early on, it was easy to see that this was not my team. They thought they were going to be able to step out there and it'd be easy, because hey, we just beaten Jacksonville, who was on paper supposedly the better, of the two. So that was a letdown. And after that game, I had to keep telling them that, hey, these type games that we go on the road and we lose, it could come back to haunt us at the end. And it really did. That was one of the reasons, and I think the main reason that we were unable to accomplish that goal of winning, the regular season championship.
That was one, and then not to belabor the point, but when you got back, of course, your home winning streak continues against Stetson, a big win to sweep the season series with them. But then Florida Gulf Coast comes in and ends a very, very long streak inside the dome for the Lady Bucks. They you beat them on their home floor, so they came back and repaid the favor. And that, I think, another thing that sort of contributed to them eventually moving on to take the regular season title.
Oh, no doubt. They came in here. It was a very good game, very, very competitive for 40 minutes. They are a very tough team to defend. And we know we have to really, really communicate out there on the floor when we are playing everyone, but especially against Gulf Coast. And I just felt like we had poor communication, even though we had a chance, at the end, but then you had a bad pass and then a missed shot, at the buzzer. So we did have a chance, but that was, our one game that I know the team, and they're always upset when we lose, but that one, that really, hit them hard. That, hey, this could be the reason that we don't achieve at least one of those two goals that we had set. So that was a heartbreaker. That was a letdown. But fortunately, we were able, to regroup a little bit and get ready to finish out the regular season.
Well, all good streaks, unfortunately, as they say, come to an end, and that did with Florida Gulf Coast inside the dome. But still, we can still take a look back at the impressive streak the Lady Bucks did have, winning streak inside the dome. 21 points, 11 rebounds for the
After giving the national number 12 Vanderbilt a scare in the 2008-09 home opener, the Lady Bucks rode their momentum to a 72-68 win over Appalachian State 5 days later. Returning home after a 5-game winter road swing, ETSU took the home conference opener against Jacksonville 86-77 after a gutsy second-half comeback. 2 days later, they continued their dominance in the Dome with a win over North Florida 56-42. After a trip to Florida that saw career win number 200 for head coach Karen Kemp and career point number 1,000 for Sierra Evans, ETSU looked to the top of the conference in a first-place battle with Belmont. After jumping out to their early lead, they led through 39 of the game's 40 minutes and went on to win by 18, 69-51. A couple days after that, they did one better against Lipscomb, winning that one 70-51 to improve to 7-1 in the A-Sun. And as if a 19-point win wasn't impressive enough, they trounced the Lady Camels by 30 on January 22nd, 87-57, and their 8th consecutive conference win. Ending their homestand with a bang, ETSU took out an improved USC Upstate team 80-68. They wouldn't return home until February 5th after a road split down in Florida. Back on their home floor, they beat Stetson by 29 points, 92-63, just after Toronto Wiles picked up Division I National Player of the Month honors from the Women's Basketball Coaches Association. But finally, after 13 straight home conference wins dating back to last season's stretch run, a scrappy Florida Gulf Coast team traded road win for road win against ETSU in 09, edging out the Lady Bucks inside the Dome on February 7th by a slim 71-69 margin. Looking to bounce back after the defeat, the Lady Bucks would be better than their word as they took 4 in a row on the road before returning to stand their final ground in late February.
And Coach, coming off the tough home loss, now you got to turn around and go on the road. Pretty difficult first Nashville swing, and then you got to go to Campbell and USC Upstate over in the mountains. And just as you did at home, you bring back 4 wins from the road at Lipscomb, Belmont, and then Campbell and Upstate.
Well, at that time, after losing to Gulf Coast, we knew if we did not win out, we would not have a shot at all. We were going to have to get a little help, from somebody to ensure that we would get the regular season championship. So we knew that once we hit the road, we had to be ready to play because everybody was going to be ready for us. They'd already seen, the losses against North Florida, the loss at home against Gulf Coast, and then, to start the season against Mercer. So other teams teams were getting some confidence because they had seen, hey, we can beat them. Other teams have beat them. We can beat them. So, that was the one thing that I tried to get across to my team is that, hey, people are seeing that, hey, we faltered at home. We went on the road to North Florida and, got beat there. So they're thinking, hey, we can step out on the floor and, and compete and win. And they were all tough games. At Lipscomb, we were down actually at halftime, by 9, but fortunately rallied back the second half and was able to get that win. Belmont, for some reason this year, and I guess maybe even last year goes back, we've kind of figured them out. And, the games have not been as close as they were, the first year or two in the league. So that one was not. But Lipscomb, and once again, Lipscomb's one of those teams that always gives us trouble on their home court. But the one thing I tried to keep telling them, hey, we did win a championship on this court. So we know we can play and win on this court. So fortunately for us, we were able to get those 2 games.
And then, of course, you come back to a very, very warm reception. It's your final homestand of the year, and you've got Kennesaw State and Mercer, a couple of very tough teams coming up from Georgia, trying to get the season sweep against Kennesaw, trying to avoid the season sweep at the hands of Mercer. And on the 26th against the Lady Owls, you're inside the Pink Zone. So much great fan support that came out, not only to support breast cancer awareness, and I think also some of the Red Hat Society from raising heart disease awareness. It's just some great fan support. The Grant team once again coming into the fold and helping you pack the house for that one. And as a result, you come away with a win against Kennesaw.
Well, the Pink Zone, it was very, very special this year. It's special every year because, the fight against breast cancer, but we just lost a great coach, and Coach Yao at NC State. So this year, I think everyone's Pink Zone, meant a whole lot more than, previous years. So that was a very special, special day for us to go out there and, raise money to try to help fight this dreaded disease. But yes, on the positive side, we were able to get a lot of fans out, for that game, and we were able to get the win against Kennesaw. So that put a positive, turn on that, which was a sad time because we just lost a legendary coach. But to get that win, made it a little nicer.
And of course, at halftime, you had Jenny Norman with the Locks of Love, one of your former players, and that was wonderful to see. Of course, her mother, a breast cancer survivor, so that was very special for her.
Right, no doubt. And she had just told me a few days before that she was going to do it, and I'm like, Jenny, you're not going to go through with it. But fortunately, she did, and great cause. So they can get wigs for those patients. So, and as you say, she had a really special reason because her mother, has survived that disease.
And of course, segueing on into your final game of the year at home against Mercer, trying to avoid the conference sweep at the hands of that team, but a very, very talented team with LaToya Jackson, of course, leading the charge, but then Courtney Carter comes off the bench and really does some wonderful things for them. Cheryl Lewis and Dominique Chisholm have their moments for Mercer as well. And, they managed to, I guess, just keep they once they got the lead, they just kept building and building and building, and they played 40 minutes of solid basketball and wound up taking the season series from you.
Like we said earlier when we were talking about Mercer, they were a much, much improved team. 2 transfers from Oklahoma State and a couple of junior college transfers. And so they were a completely different team this year than what we had seen the previous year. And, their coach, she's done a tremendous job, bringing in those type of players. But I really thought we were ready for, that game because they had beaten us. And it had been a while in the league since somebody had swept us. And we were trying to keep that from happening, but they had a different answer. And they did. They played 40 minutes of really good basketball, and unfortunately for us, that put the pin in the bubble as far as us being able to win the regular season championship.
Well, it was a disappointing end, I guess, just on that one day. However, Lady Bucks, of course, the number 1 seed for the tournament, didn't win the regular season title, but that went to Florida Gulf Coast, ineligible for the tournament, so you still get the number 1. And we'll take a quick break and have a very special feature. But when we come back, conference tournament time.
On February 26th, ETSU participated in the nationwide Pink Zone initiative to raise breast cancer awareness. 2009's events throughout the NCAA involved nearly 1 million people and raised more than $1 million among 1,600 teams and organizations. Proceeds went to the K. Yao Cancer Fund, named for the NC State coach who passed away on January 24th. Inside the Memorial Center, fans and players joined survivors to help fight for a cure.
Every day is special to me because I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I was real excited when the grant team asked me to be a part of this event. And I hope we'll be able to raise funds so that we can do more research to fight breast cancer. I hope we get another grant so we can continue to do this fight. I've got 4 daughters and 3 granddaughters, and I hope that we won't have to fight breast cancer when they grow up.
Even former players got involved as 2008 Lady Buck alum Jenny Norman gave up her locks for love at halftime. So the Lady Bucks, dressed in pink literally from head to toe, took to the floor against a Kennesaw State team that flagged later in the year due to injury, and ETSU took advantage, building a 10-point lead at the half. The Lady Owls outscored the Lady Bucks in the final 20 minutes, but ETSU hung on to collect the win. Sierra Evans netted 26 points along with 12 rebounds, while Letitia Belcher, Gwen Washington, and Taronda Wiles all scored in double digits as well. Final score inside the Pink Zone, ETSU 73, Kennesaw State 66, going into their final home game of the year.